Hello, I'm Bart Everson, media artist at the Center for the Advancement of Teaching, and this is Content Curation for Teaching and Learning. This is a presentation divided into 5 parts, 2 parts theory and 3 parts practice, because our extensive research on this topic has revealed that that's the exact mix that people really need. Or maybe I just made that up. So to begin, curation is a kind of funny word. It is something that my spell checker doesn't even actually recognize, so obviously we're going to have to unpack this term a little bit to understand what it's all about. The problem is basically that there's so much information, a tsunami of information, a flood of information, truly an embarrassment of riches. And all of this content that's coming online every day, of course, is created by human beings, but it's delivered by machines. Not just the physical machines that make up the infrastructure of the internet, the computers and the boxes and the relays and so forth, but the primary means that most people probably use to find information are search engines, Google and other search engines. And of course, these are software programs, automated solutions that use a vast amount of computing resources and secret algorithms to generate search results. Is there a better way? Possibly we could restore the human element, add the human element back into this picture, because humans can look through all of this information that's coming online, not all of it, obviously, but information in a particular domain for a particular purpose. They can scour through that information. They can zoom in on the information that's most relevant to their purpose. They can select that good information. They can collate it, combine it, collect it, analyze it, annotate it, and deliver it, share it with other people. In fact, humans are doing just that. This is the process that we're talking about, and the primary example of this is Pinterest, probably the most successful content curation site, and I'll come back to it briefly in a little bit. But just to give a quick look, as we know on Pinterest, people pin images that they find around the web, and the end result is a pin board, a gallery, if you will, of images, not created by the user, but curated by them. So if this kind of looks like an art gallery, that's exactly the metaphor that we're looking for. The curator of an art museum is not just somebody who collects paintings. Collection is an important part of it, of course, but there's more to it than that. A good curator is like a trusted guide, an expert who can interpret the works, bring together different works and show their connections, help an audience understand where these works fit into a larger scheme of things. Librarians, of course, have been doing this for a long time, so any librarians in the audience will know exactly what I'm talking about. In fact, I've drawn from a lot of librarians in this presentation. The basic process then is one of sifting through information, finding the best stuff, collating it, contextualizing it, and sharing it using various tools that can streamline the process. It boils down to an essence of seek, sense, share. And basically seeking out the information that is most relevant, making sense of it, and then sharing it with an audience. And as you can imagine, that middle part, this making sense of it, is where the real educational opportunity lies. Now, I can hear some people out there saying, Bart, isn't this a little overheated? I mean, isn't this just you're talking about collecting some links? Didn't you do a workshop on social bookmarking a few years ago? Isn't this really just the same thing? Well, not really. The distinction between merely collecting something and curating something is an important distinction to make. So I refer here to Nancy White. She's a librarian from Colorado, and she has delineated some of the differences between collecting content, merely collecting it, and curating it. So take a moment, pause this if you like, to look over this table. I'm certainly not going to read it for you. Curating just involves more than merely collecting. There's a lot more to it. It has to be more thoughtful, and that's why content curation offers opportunities for teaching and learning. So we can learn from curators. We can learn from trusted experts who point us out to relevant, interesting content. But we can also learn by becoming the curator ourselves, by rolling up our sleeves and getting our hands down in the mess. And as we all know, that's a great way to learn. So that's the basic idea of the introduction of what content curation is about. So I'm going to stop here in the interest of time, but you can explore the rest of this presentation through the interactive Prezi I've created. And you can find that on our wiki at zulacat.wikispaces.com. You'll also find a lot of other information, including resources and credits, all related to this topic of content curation for teaching and learning. So, thank you very much for your time and for your attention. Until next time, this is Bart Everson, media artist at the Center for the Advancement of Teaching.